Hi everybody, in this video I'm going to show you how to pass step 1 with artificial intelligence tools that I've created, and I'm going to make this super short and to the point. So you reach a question like this, you missed it, you chose C, but you should have chosen A, and you're like, hey, why? Well, you click the solve button and your favorite AI character, for the purposes of this tutorial I'm choosing Hermione Granger, will analyze the variables and the potential spell, diagnostic interactions. And then she'll trigger a soundbite where she tells you progress is not linear, neither vagus nerve, and look how effective it is. So you have AI generated speech by the character of your choice, and then you can look at why she thinks the correct answers are what they are, whether incorrect or correct. And then we can click on this button. This is the rule out button. Okay, so it's going to give us analysis of, look at that, pulse ox at 99. That rules out E. This rules out B. This rules out D. This rules out C. And you can actually go through these answer choices and see why they rule out different conditions. Okay, so this is highly helpful if you're not sure of why C is wrong. For instance, here it says primary overproduction of the red blood cells would lead to an increase in the total arterial oxygen content. Why? Because the CaO2 really tells us how much hemoglobin there is. And so if this is low, then that's going to rule out C, because we would not expect low CO2 in this patient. And as you can see, here's the correct answer explanation. Well, let's refresh the page and let's try another AI tool. I want to showcase all of them in this quick video. All right, rule in diagnosis. And by the way, the software is going to be available for download in the description. You click this button and it tells you all the rule in diagnosis. Look at that, it found it. This is the low total arterial oxygen content. Once again, it pinpointed how low hemoglobin is going to indicate a low CaO2. And also worsening shortness of breath is another supporting factor for A as your question. Okay, so we can click on this mind map. Let's see what that does. It should generate a big old mind map for the diagnostic condition, in this case, probably anemia. Look at that. It just rendered in the background some JavaScript, and now we have a nice little table that we can see. Look at that. Wow. So if you're confused about why is it anemia, what are the diagnoses, what are the lab tests you're going to find, you just click that button and it'll do that for this particular diagnosis. Let's go ahead and click another button. How about, oh, this one's fun. This is the buzzwords button. I'll also generate a photo of the patient. So I'll do both at the same time. So now a lot of tasks are running in the background. All you have to put in is an API key and you're good to go through ChatGPT. All right. And so once these guys finish loading, you'll have access to this image that'll generate and also the buzzwords. Okay. So the buzzwords have generated, and look at that. Here is what you need to know about 32-year-old woman on step 1. Menstrual age group, menstrual disorder, a reproductive age group, menstrual disorders, iron deficiency anemia. That's indeed relevant to this question, and anemia and prevalence in women. If I were to click this button, it would then do a Google search. This is kind of a general prompt, but here's the USMLE step 1 relevance, recognizing anemia, understanding risk factors, diagnosing anemia. So as you can see, you can just go through and let's say we scroll down to all of our little bees here, our buzzy buzz bees. Oh, our image is finished generating. We'll go to that in a second. Cyanide intoxication. Okay, so like, why is this related to cytochrome C? Well, here's the detailed breakdown. So you can just look and quickly analyze the gist of why these buzzy topics are important for step 1. It's all auto-filled for you. You've got your mind map. Okay, we're not even finished. We haven't finished all the tools. Here is our primary visualization. So here you have a woman. Maybe you can see some cyanosis. Here's the prompt that it generated in the background and then generated the image for you all automatically. This would have taken a lot of time to do on your own, but no, here we have a nice little prompt, AI generated, and here is our woman experiencing anemia. So you can kind of imagine what this would be like in the clinic. You can also tailor this to your liking. You know, is more photorealistic, less photorealistic? You can choose all of that in the settings. All right, so moving on here, blood sample, you can see recent altitude exposure. What is that buzzy for? That's buzzy for hypoxia, a decreased PaO2, and that's the reason why it's not the answer choice. So, you know, click this and then look at the answer choices, try to understand why PaO2 would be normal in this condition. Now I'm going to click lab values button, and I'm going to click differential diagnosis button, and I'm going to click 3 key fact button. Okay, so look at that. Boom, I got my differential diagnosis. The AI is telling me it could be anemia. Could be cyanide poisoning. Okay, well, let's read the description. Cyanide poisoning can result in a normal PO2 and SO2, okay, awesome, while affecting cellular oxygen utilization, leading to normal oxygen content in the arterial blood. However, this is less likely given the specific finding of, again, we found it, the low CO2 really tells us that the low hemoglobin is the culprit in this case. Here's our lab values. Look at that low hypoxia risk, and it'll give us the clinical significance summary of these lab values. They'll be color-coded as well, so you don't have to go looking for them over on the side. All right, so I'll hide those reports, and nope, look at this, we have their key points. So the key points, according to this AI, normal PO2 and SO2 indicate adequate oxygenation. 2, low CO2 signifies reduced hemoglobin levels. Okay, so this is super important. That's the telltale sign, is recognizing that for step 2. And then 3, chronic blood loss is a cause of anemia. If you know those 3 things, you know how to answer this question. That's the idea of that button. Okay, we'll click this one. Let's say it's still super confusing. No worries. When I click this button, Boom, simplified. Now, this is just super simple English. It says a 32-year-old woman, worsening, shortness of breath, oxygen levels normal, but the total oxygen content is low. See how it just tells you just the most important things? And it simplifies the answer choices. So look at this, chronic blood loss leading to low hemoglobin. Boom, yeah, that makes sense. Simplified explanation as well. If all this stuff didn't make sense, it'll just say it to you in plain English with highlighting that works. All right, so we can also boom, revert back. Now we're good to go. So we've gone through most of these. I'll click the timeline button. This one's pretty involved and really awesome. It's going to use some JavaScript in the background to generate a timeline that you might see for different conditions that are on your differential diagnosis for this question. Wow, look at that. So in the first 20 years of life, you might see, boom, anemia. Here's the onset key points, cyanide intoxication, polycythemia vera, high altitude exposure. These are the differential diagnoses that you might see, and maybe a timeline that you might see as well. And so let's say we don't really want that. Okay, no worries. We can make a brain map, we can make, boom, let's click this one, differential diagnosis pathway. So this is going to tell us the most important parts of the question and what are called turning points. They're turning points in the question, like this one. Turning point 1, okay, we analyze and we see the pulse oximetry shows 99% on room air. This means, why this matters, that finding would eliminate the diagnosis associated with low oxygen sat, such as the right-left shunting and the cyanide intoxication. So this eliminates right-to-left interpulmonary shunting and cyanide intoxication. We can then zoom in here and we can see this list of differential diagnoses. For instance, we can see primary overproduction of red blood cells. Yes, then okay, it's going to be our primary overproduction. Maybe it'll talk about polycythemia vera if we have a lot of hematocrit, recent altitude exposure, evidence, right to left shunting. So we can go through and make a little flow chart if you're still kind of misunderstanding the question. We'll do one other feature as well. So this is going to be very similar. This is going to be an answer choice flow chart. So it'll kind of tell you why each answer is incorrect and what helps you determine why it's incorrect. And that is going to be the last feature that we talk about today. So look at that. We have our nice little purple stylus here where it says the worsening shortness of breath. Okay, what does that eliminate? It says it's going to eliminate primary overproduction of red blood cells. Why is that eliminated? Chronic blood loss anemia could lead to symptoms of shortness of breath due to low hemoglobin, primary overproduction of red blood cells, and would not cause low CaO2. Still possible chronic blood loss. And so it'll go tell you, discriminator 1, discriminator 2, discriminator 3, and then you have an awesome flowchart where you can go and see all of the answer choices together and what discriminates them. You can go down to ask the AI a question. So I'm going to say, explain like I'm 5. Okay, and so whoever you chose, you can choose, Dr. Strange, you can choose whoever you want. Somebody recommended that I do the fish Gilgillian, so there's Dr. Gilgillian in there, I put him in. Henry Cavill as well. Okay, so certainly the findings show normal this and low this. That indicates a decrease in hemoglobin concentration, so it's anemia, and then also shortness of breath. Okay, so that's like the very simple bird's eye view understanding of this question. Explain like I'm 5. You could say any sort of thing that you want here. Here's some other answer choices, like which is psoriasis for another question. It's not gonna make sense for this one, but there you go. It'll tell you about psoriasis. So those are some awesome AI tools. Last thing I want to tell you is, boom, we can click this. Here are all the settings. Look at that. Tom Riddle, Voldemort, Dr. Gilgillian, Dr. House, Charles Darwin, Superman, and Jesus for you pious folk out there. Enable streak progression. What that does is if you say sarcastic here, and then you answer a lot of questions correctly, then Hermione Granger in this case will start to become much more sarcastic as you answer more questions correctly. You can change your model here. I recommend Mini. That's the best one right now for this purpose. And you can change your image generator and all of these things. You can change your persona voices, what she says when she says it, enabling theme colors. All that can be changed as well. I'll show you really briefly. One of my favorite themes that I made is Tom Riddle. Here's Voldemort, Gilgillian, Dr. House, Hermione Granger. Oh, look at that nice little blue for Jesus. All of them come with really nice little GIF integration here. So we can ask Jesus a question about psoriasis, and then we have to refresh the page. It'll still be Hermione Granger, who is probably not Jesus depending on your religion. And so yeah, there it is. Ask Jesus. Eternal life? I'm just kidding. And anemia? I don't know. I'm on the spot here. Look at that. Jesus is thinking. He's just thinking. It's Jesus from the Chosen that I've put in here of the gifts. I'll also click solve so you can see what Jesus would say. But dear friends, as we explore the question of anemia, he's about to give the Sermon on the Mount, talking about why the content here matters. Solve, and there it is. Jesus is laughing, solving the problem. Have faith. The answer will be revealed. Telling you to have faith because he'll reveal the answer, and soon he will. Once this finishes spinning, we'll get the Jesus insights. Look at that. Chronic blood loss is what Jesus said. Yes, he is a doctor, and we'll listen to Jesus give his speech here.
Ye have heard that it hath been said, and I...
Anyway, so he can go on a little diatribe there about chronic blood loss. Yeah, that's the Chrome extension, guys. Hopefully this has been helpful. I've received about 4 or 5 texts since launching this, people saying I could not have passed step 1 without this. They're sending me messages like, hey, I just passed one, just passed step 1, couldn't have done it without your Chrome extension, and it just honestly makes my day. So let me know. I'm not out here to make a quick buck. I'm out here to help future generations of physicians use artificial intelligence. That is my goal. Okay, so if you can't afford this for some reason, we're making it super cheap. But if you can't, please just send me a message. I want to help out. I want you to pass step 1, step 2, also MCAT prep. This is an amazing, super awesome tool, if I do say so myself, that I've developed over the course of several weeks. Just trying to ask myself and really figure out how can we make the process of learning more simple, more fun in this new age of artificial intelligence. Please like and subscribe if you're into that. If you'd like to see more videos like this on the channel, if you'd like to see me break down more questions like this. Also, next month, we're going to be releasing a new kind of take on UWorld, because this is with UWorld subscription, right? This is completely separate from UWorld, but eventually I'd love to make my own platform where everybody could learn and engage kind of like a community in a Reddit-esque sort of way, use AI tools together to create practice questions to really kind of build a really fun, kind, communicative AI community. All right, y'all. Well, a couple of other extensions as well that I could tell you about, like this one, which says everything out loud to you. You can literally click read automated and it'll just go through all of them. All of these are available for purchase on the website here. There's also Step Sync. This is just a masterpiece of a Chrome extension, if I'm being honest. Here you can see all of your blocks over time, what you've done, your scores over time. So here I put in some data. So yeah, here's my UWorld pass where we had 3,600 questions. Here's the percent correct and incorrect. It'll also tell you when you need to take the exam, what you're weak in, all of your areas that you're lacking, and when you're set to take this exam. So a lot of awesome tools that are coming. They're all available on the website, fourth wall link. All right, guys, hopefully you're doing well, taking care of yourselves out there. Step 1 is no fun. MCAT is no fun. Step 2, no fun. You're losing your 20s to learn this exam. Hopefully this is an easier way for you to spend your time. All right, that's all I got. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next video.